Day 1 of the Transitalia Marathon 2024 is now behind us. Now we would like to introduce you to the second day of the road variant concept, which we rode again together with 100 other participants. Have fun with our impressions. G1 road variant takes us from Città di Castello in the Umbria region to Nocera, Umbra over a distance of approximately 225 kilometers on small roads. Our starting point is Città di Castello, a small town with around 40,000 inhabitants in the province of Perugia in Umbria, which gave us a very warm welcome. Participants in the Transitalia Marathon can get many discounts in the city, even after the event, for example on museum tickets. Had to arrive with the bikes from the hotel. Some had left their bikes overnight in Piazza Metauro and were able to start early in the morning. Today we will be riding around 225 kilometers on small roads through the two regions of Umbria and Marche. The landscape is characterized by mountains and many forests. You can see how relaxed the Italians are. We drive through narrow streets with pedestrians unthinkable in Germany. All participants ride responsibly, nothing happens. While we had traveled through a winding hilly landscape the day before, the route now takes us through the lowlands to the north, where we head for the Passo di Bocca Trabaria in the mountains. Tobacco and olives are grown in the lowlands around Città di Castello. In contrast to the rest of Umbria, the area is characterized by the Renaissance, whereas previously medieval towns dominated the landscape. Due to heavy rainfall the night before, the organizers have decided that some routes are no longer possible. This does not affect us, but to be on the safe side, there are now marshals in some places that will divert the off-road riders. As announced, we now head into the mountains towards the Passo di Bocca Trabaria. We wind our way up the mountains on a winding road with many overtaking zones, but fortunately little traffic. And now let's imagine this route with a good road. Surface smooth tarmac exactly. How boring, says the experienced driver, but it should get even more interesting later. The weather gives us a few worries, but they are unfounded. It remained mostly dry, and we were able to negotiate the bends well. This Italian state road, the SS73 to Bocca-Traberia. You get into a very relaxed flow while driving, but probably not in winter, as we will be driving up to 1,000 meters. So that our group doesn't fall apart. We always take a short break after a fast stage to collect everyone again and continue together. Sometimes you can combine this with a longer break in a bistro, but sometimes we continue straight away, like here. The weather in the mountains changes from one bend to the next. While we are still enjoying the blue sky and the beautiful view, the fog of the Passo di Bocca-Traberia awaits us around the next bend, and we get closer and closer to it. Our fears that we are about to be swallowed up by fog are unfounded. 1,040. 9 meters is no longer for mountain men wannabes, but we can still clearly see the signpost at the actual pass before we descend the mountains again. pass, and the descent, green hills, and the typical stone houses in this area around Sompion await us again. If you enter Sompion into Google, you will find many charming holiday homes, for example, converted mills from the 16th century. We spend our breakfast break after this beautiful pass descent in Mercatello sul Metauro. We park in Piazza Garibaldi, named after the famous 19th century Italian freedom fighter. The piazza is the main square of the village, with the Palazzo Gasparini, which island is walking toward the 17th century. Palazzo was a gift from a nobleman to his fellow citizens. Today, the building belongs to the municipality, which has been using it for exhibitions for several years. This village, with its medieval architecture dating back to the 13th century, has officially been one of the most beautiful villages in Italy since 2019 at least. According to the Italian Touring Club, centuries-old walls enclose the historic town center, which is characterized by its town planning dating back to the 13th century, which has been preserved to this day. Narrow herpest, cobbled alleyways lead off the square, and the Metauro River meanders nearby, which we will cycle along later. Now we drive out of this beautiful village and continue along the winding State Road 73 to Di Bocca Trabaria in the direction of Sant'Angelo in Vado, and on to Pietralunga, where we will collect today's confirmation stamp. The roads are in a varied condition for the most part. We are happy about the long suspension travel on our motorbikes, but every now and then someone has left some tarmac behind. We didn't recognize any rule that 200 meters of the finest asphalt had been laid every now and then. drive through green forests from Valdara, via Massa and Pianello, to Pietralunga, where we will collect the stamp for today's stage. We pass through remote small villages with the stone houses typical of the area. On our route plan is Pietralunga. This is a very old community which was mentioned as early as 79 Anno Domini, a leap into modern times. A memorial was erected in the village to the courageous inhabitants who rebelled against the German fascists before the end of the Second World War declared the area a liberated zone. We only collect our stamps briefly and then decide to continue our journey because it is clearly too crowded for us. When you ride in a group, you can use communication systems to talk to each other and exchange information. We all had seen as compatible devices with mesh support on our helmets. Given the poor road conditions, we discovered another advantage of these systems. The rider in front can warn those behind of deep potholes or grit on bends on the small Italian roads. It is also good if oncoming traffic is recognized early and reported. Thanks to these radio warnings, at some point you will be driving as relaxed as if you were on autopilot. It is now afternoon, and we are traveling through a hilly landscape along the first foothills of the Apennine chain near Casa Castalda, towards Assisi. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time today to visit Francis, as we don't want to be too late for today's stage destination of Nocera, Umbra. We have got into the habit of refueling every time before we reach our destination for the day, so that we don't have to do it in the morning. It doesn't matter where you fill up in Italy, as most petrol stations in the country only offer super or diesel anyway. This time we head for the petrol station at Nocera, Scalo in Italy. There are usually pumps for self-fueling, Compress, where you have to pay with your card at a machine before refueling. There are also petrol pumps where you are served and only pay at the end. Guess which pumps are more expensive? When we arrive at Piazza Umberto E. in Nocera, Umbra in the early evening, the organizers are already waiting for us. In general, you can arrive at the stage finish from 3:30 p.m., but then you probably don't stick to the motto of the event. It's not a race. The stage destination, Nocera, Umbra, is an Italian municipality with almost 6,000 inhabitants in the region of Umbria. The town is located in the Monte Subasio Nature Park and was founded by the Umbrians in the 6th century before Christ's birth. The Romans then moved in, followed by the Goths, who destroyed the Roman settlement hundreds of years after its reconstruction. Nocera, Umbra was incorporated into the Kingdom of Italy in 1860. After dropping off our tickets, we slowly drive to the square, where a market is traditionally held. This is also the reason why we will start the next stage at a different point the next morning. It is an impressive atmosphere to see so many motorbikes lined up, and at the same time, to know that we are part of this community from all sorts of countries. We also look for a place to park, and then enjoy the Italian hospitality in the small bistros on the square. Round off the day, we take a stroll through the alleyways of the small community. The small town on the heights presents itself with the obvious signs of its former defense structure. Above all, the imposing gates and mighty castle walls from the Middle Ages. If you liked our video, we would be very happy about a like or a subscription. See you soon for the next video about Day 3 of our Transitalia Marathon 2024.